This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everyone. This is something that is so important in our lives, but we run from it every time there's an opportunity for this to take place. And I get downloads with music. I've been playing music on the radio forever. The song from David Bowie came out in the mid-'70s called Changes, just popped in my head. And the lyrics go, cha-cha changes, turn and face the strange. Changes. Nobody wants to, because we like to stay where we are, like to feel safe, but life is full of changes, and without a change, you don't find transformation. She knows more about that than I do. Lots to learn today as we talk about changes in your life and transformation. She is the woman behind ClearSight, which presents transformational seminars, natural energy healing programs. She offers so much to so many to help you facilitate that change. Levanah Bdolak joins us on the program. Do I at least get like a one check mark for the pronunciation there? Did I come close to that?
You came very close. Fantastic. You get a one fantastic in the beginning. That's super.
I got an attaboy. All right, there you go. It's all right.
So I watch you change when you say that, because I look at things from a clairvoyant point of view, and you have a bubble of light that we like to call the aura that surrounds you, like an egg that goes a few feet above you to a few feet below you. And when you speak and you get excited and you go, wow, I did that right, all this beautiful orange energy surrounds your throat. Okay.
Wow.
And orange is a healing energy and it's a change energy. So when people, mostly I wanted to talk about change because everybody now is coming to me and saying, I can't quite change. There's AI, there's this going on, and I can't quite figure out who I am anymore. I have to shift. And then they kind of look at me like, where can I go hide? I mean, I have friends who just say, I'll go back to bed and go under the covers.
I get it.
Especially in the winter. I'll just go hide completely. But change is happening to us all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? If you look at someone's aura, when they don't change, there's something that won't move. People like to call that a block. So the energy goes and it goes around that. And if it goes around that enough, that piece that doesn't change becomes bigger and it blocks you. You can't quite make your life work. And I think that's what's happening now, because we're in this enormous karmic shift on the planet where all the new technology, everybody's throwing out all the old ways of doing things. We have 12,000 years of history that everybody's throwing out the window and saying, I want to do it a different way. But what is the different way? What is the new way? And that's where people kind of get stuck, because change, it's funny. Like you said, change is changing your whole identity. One little thing can shift you totally, dramatically.
There are even people who fear success, even though we all want to succeed, but they block their success because they feel on the back end, well, if I do succeed, let's say I make more money, I might have a new car, I might have a new house, people are going to judge me. My friends aren't really going to be my friends anymore. And well, that's their perception. And then they kind of run from the change of, let's say, a new job, new situation, because ultimately, would you say it's fundamental that in our evolution, we want to stay the same because it's safe?
Oh, always you want to stay the same because it's safe. But if you stay the same, you don't really move.
I'm not saying it's good.
Challenge yourself, and you really can't get anywhere. And that's what happens when people stay the same and they're in the same job and they start to get bored with it and they know what's going to happen. Then their whole brain kind of levels out and kicks out. And then they get miserable and they get depressed. And eventually they feel that something outside of you forces you to change, but really it's something inside of you that really forces you to change.
Let's go there. So many say that it was an event in their life or something that was of big magnitude that forced the change. Maybe they had to change. Um, we don't necessarily have to wait for those moments, but do you feel those moments show up? They show up for a reason to force you to change.
They show up when you refuse to change. We call that resistance. When you literally say, I want everything the same way it's always been, and that's what makes me feel comfortable. And then everything starts changing around you, and it's not that way anymore. And you're not that way anymore, but you keep trying to be what you were. Or you keep trying to be what you think your friends see you as. You
Mm.
keep trying to be what someone else's, your idea of someone else's, what's going on in their mind, which of course you never really do know that. So you're kind of waste your time trying to do that. But that's what people do. They sort of go, I just want it. What I used to hear right after COVID is, can we get back to normal? Okay. But there is no
What's
normal
normal?
anymore. The climate is shifting dramatically. The tech is shifting dramatically. AI is shifting the job situation. And people are just kind of running around in circles, what I call confusion. So to change, first we look at, how do you ground yourself? How do you make your body real? How do you get a sense of who you are on a very simple physical level? Because then you start to question, okay, so what am I going to do with myself once I'm grounded and I'm here? Because usually when you start to change, everything changes. See, that's the first thing we learned about reading auras. If you see one little thing in somebody's energy shift, everything has to accommodate that. It's like a person walks in the room, okay? You have a group of people in the room, and a new person walks in the room. The whole energy shifts to accommodate that person. The slightest thing in your aura really shifts, and you make a decision. I'm going to go and try this. I'm going to do that new thing. Okay. Or I'm going to do the thing I always wanted to do that I said, well, after all, I have to earn a living, so I can't do the thing I love. And suddenly you wake up and you say, well, everything's changed now. The tech has changed. Maybe I can do what I love. Then everything shifts to accommodate that. And that's when people go into what we call a growth period.
Hmm.
Now, clairvoyantly, a growth period is when your aura turns green. It's like bright new leaves, spring leaves. And we always kind of, if you're clairvoyant, you laugh at that, because the minute you go into a growth period, people are very insecure because everything's new. Okay. It's like completely different. And even though you're doing all the same things, somehow the way you see things, the way you perceive has changed. And it is a new you. And that's what we call transformation.
If you make one small change in your life, is it like the game Jenga or Connect Four or whatever, where you move one thing, but everything else moves? But when I say that, is it guaranteed? You make one small change in your life, whatever it may be. Let's say you change a relationship. Let's say somebody's in your life and you finally realize, well, they don't really support where I'm going now, or I see them differently now. And then maybe you push them to the side a little bit. You made a
Well,
change. Maybe you change something with your job. Not maybe not. I'm not talking about radical changes.
even a small vacation where you go away and you do things a little differently and you try something new, anything new. Maybe you go on a new ride, or you jump on the horse on the beach. You go to Atlantic City and get on a horse and go riding. Okay. In the summertime, when you come back, you're not the same person, really.
Mm,
Okay. Especially if
all
you
right.
do something that you wouldn't have done before.
You are describing my life at this moment
It's not just
because,
you, it's everyone.
but it's weird where last year I made a commitment to myself to go away by myself. I never did it before. Weird. I never did. I would either go with somebody or I'd fly somewhere, meet somebody. It was just me, found an island, dirt cheap, so worth it. Beautiful Airbnb right on the ocean. Once I calmed down from the New York Minute, which took 2 days, it was rest, reflection, relaxation, life changing. And I met a horse on the beach. A random horse on the beach. And even looking into the horse's eyes, I felt something. And guess what? 3 months later, I did the same exact thing over again. And as I'm looking around, I'm like, this is where I belong. What's wrong with this? And I'm thought, oh, you manifested this. You created everything here in your mind and you're in it now. But what I got from it just changed my life in terms of my perception of things. And guess what? I'm going in another couple of months. I'm going to do it again. Life changing. One small thing.
That's your permission to be able to connect with the oneness where you don't have all this craziness going on that we have going on, especially if you're busy, you're in the city, you're doing a million things. Suddenly you go on this vacation
Amen.
and there's not all these things you have to do, and you can just sit there and be. And the minute you sit there and be, you make that connection.
Oh,
And that connection brings everything to you.
clarity. All I did was sit on a white plastic chair over on some grass overlooking the ocean for hours every day. And then I had that realization, oh, duh, you're grounded. You're walking barefoot 24/7. You don't want to put shoes on. You don't want to put shoes on because it just feels so good. So I guess I reconnected with me. Maybe that was the change, the beginning of a
You
change.
see, you're doing exactly what when I was married. My husband's gone now, but when I was married, my husband would do this thing with, I want to go, I want to go camping and I want to go camp out on the glacier. And I would say, why do you want to go camping like this? He says, I get away from everything. And the minute I get away from everything, everything is clear and it's beautiful.
Yep.
And then he would say, then he would come back. And after about 2 days being back, he would say, I have this headache and I don't like it. And I would say, listen, I'll teach you a simple meditation, a simple set of skills, 5 skills, and you can be that way anytime you want. You don't have to start collecting up. He would go to Ariane and collect up all his camping equipment. I mean, he had a ritual with collecting up everything he needed, and then he would go on this trip, and everything was wonderful. And then he'd come back, and everything wasn't so wonderful. And I said, you can do this. You can do this with your life all the time. And yes, you can still go there and go to this beautiful place. But at the same time, you can create this beauty within you and connect to it when you're in the middle of chaos and confusion. And I feel that's what people need now, because that's why I brought up the concept of change, because everybody I know is coming to me with, what do I do? I'm in this kind of confused state where people are spinning around like crazy trying to figure out, who am I now and where am I going and what are my true goals? And if all of this is changing, what is my goal? And I'm going, just connect. It'll come to you. That you're using all this effort. Don't use all this effort. So yeah, I love to hear you doing that, but
Well, okay, so I've heard this, and this is in line with what you're saying. They call it the 17-second rule. I don't know who came up with that. I would open the door and bring my cat in too. They could be friends. He'd be right up here next to me.
she's very
Um,
willful. I can't kind of get her off.
I got the same thing. All he wants to do is hug me and drool on me, and I love it. But then after a while, it gets messy. Um, the 17-second rule, where you think of something or a situation that made you feel great, could be on vacation, and you try to bring that feeling in and you hold it for 17 seconds, and it starts to feel like you're there, that dopamine hit, whatever it is that works for you. If you can do that on a regular basis, you'd feel much better in general in life. It almost sounds what you're saying right here.
It's a simple way. It's a simple and it's an old trick and it's very ancient trick. Okay. That if you've done any transformational kind of awareness, you can do. But there's an easier way that's more powerful that gets you into that place where you don't have to relive where you were or bring that into now, where you in the now are connected
So how do you do that?
by learning a simple set of skills, grounding, how to bring your higher self into your body, not all of it, but most of it. Your higher self's quite huge. So you can bring part of it in, and then you get all that wisdom and that knowledge, and you know how to do things you thought you didn't know at all, because your higher self's connected to the oneness source. And then you run energy through your system, very high golden energy and a little earth energy, to clear your system, which clears out all the garbage that we collect. Because boy, do we keep every feeling, every emotion, everything that happened is somewhere sitting in you. I like to show people how to let go of it so you can have the memory without the charge.
So what you just said, are you referring to the body keep score? Everything you've ever experienced is
Yeah.
in some way, shape, and form in your DNA. It's hanging out in there.
Not just your body, it's really your emotional state.
That's it.
Because you can clear it out of your body. Your body keeps score of the things that are really intense, like an accident or something that happened that hit your body. But your emotions keep score of all the things that you feel that happened in relationships. And
I was referring to the whole big picture. I know I said body, but the mind is connected to the body. So yes, I'm learning that. I'm hearing it. I'm
but
researching
you
it.
can take the emotion out. We call that pictures, because if you look, if you look at someone's aura, you'll see lots of little pictures. It's like watching a movie. Okay. And if you watch the pictures closely, it is like a little movie because they move from one thing to another. Those pictures hold a charge. That charge is your emotion, how you felt at that time. Okay. So if you hurt your hand, okay, sometimes that'll light up and you'll feel like your hand hurts, but there's no reason for it. It's because the old picture still holds the energy charge. If you take that energy out and you just keep the memory so that you know that happened, so you don't have to do it again. If you take the energy out, then you're not affected by all those emotions anymore.
Hmm.
And that's the skill I like to teach people that we call change.
Is that really is that exactly what it is? Change. That's it.
Yeah, it's changed because if you look at some old relationship and you always see it a certain way, and if it has a negative feeling or a heavy emotion, even even a very loving emotion, but it always makes you feel like, oh, this person is gone, this person left, and they're not on the planet, and I miss them, and all this heavy emotion. Okay, if you take that out, you can then look at, I had a wonderful time with this person. I learned so much from them. I enjoyed them without feeling that heavy, intense loss or emotion. And that energy then becomes new energy you bring towards you to use for something else.
So
So it energizes you.
you've said before, and I don't want to lose the moment, but when you look at somebody's aura, I was just thinking you see their field, you see colors. You referred before that you see pictures around them.
The aura has 7 basic layers, and those layers are colors, and the colors are many colors of whatever you're feeling at the time, whatever emotion it is. But within the colors are little pictures that are just like, think of it. That's why people love movies and TV, by the way. Think of it as a picture, and it's a picture of whatever happened to you or whatever you hold on to. Okay. And there's millions of them, but there's certain pictures that really affect you, that you might think of your mother, you might think of your father, you might think of something that happened that was beautiful and wonderful, and you might think of something that was negative, that makes you feel bad. All of that has energy in it. If you take all the energy out, you can store the pictures as memories, but you don't go around having all that energy, because the minute that one of those things gets triggered, you're going to feel that emotion. And sometimes you're not going to know why.
And the steps that you described before, is that part of stripping the emotion away from the pictures?
Mhm. You
Wow.
literally take the emotion out of the picture, store the picture in your memory banks. So you have it, so you can say, I went through this terrible accident. I had a client, she went through this terrible accident. For a month, she was in the hospital, and her whole course, her whole life changed afterwards. It shifted her because whatever it was she wasn't ready to deal with, that happened to help her deal with it. And so she doesn't want to go feel all that emotion again. She wants to know that happened so she doesn't repeat it, but you can take all that emotion out. It's wonderful for like parents with children because your children really see where you're at and they will push your buttons and all this emotion comes up and you have this immediate reaction. And if you take the reaction and get rid of it and stay calm and
Mm.
stay focused, you can deal with them really much better.
You teach people, I mean, you explained it, and not all
I
of us
how
can
to do
get
that.
that, but
I run
you,
them through how to do those skills, and it takes a little while to learn it. You know, a few 2 or 3 classes, and classes are usually about 2 hours because we practice. You have to do it. Not see, most people understand in their heads, "I can change, I can transform. I'm decided I'm gonna let go of this." You know, it reminds me of, my friend who, I used to do a lot of audio work with, and he stopped smoking. And the minute he stopped smoking, he started eating sweets, all sorts of little candies. Okay. And he had a big bowl of candies on his desk. And his wife looked at him and she said, "You have to stop this because you're going to gain weight and it's bad for you and you're going to get hypertension, all these things from too much sugar." And he said, "Okay, I agree. I'm not going to do that." And then a couple of minutes later, he walks past his desk and he grabs a piece of one of the pieces of little candy bars. And we all look at him like, because he automatically did that. That's a program within him. I'm insecure. I want something. I'm not smoking anymore. I want something to make my body feel good. And he grabbed it. Okay. That's a picture somewhere that if he takes the energy out of it, he doesn't even have to know to see the picture. He just has to know the feeling or the essence to capture it enough to take the energy out. And then he won't do that because his programming will have been ended for that.
this everything you're talking about here is so fundamental for change, habits, all of that. I never even considered when we were going to talk about this today where this would go, but it's really it's everything. It's everything that you want if you want to make that change. We're just about out of time. Ask this question. If you look at my aura, do you actually see pictures?
Yeah, I
Really?
actually do see pictures. Um, And I see something you're wrestling with right in the middle of your heart chakra right now. That literally is something you're pulling and someone else is pulling it. But it's very interesting. But I have no idea what that is. But yes, I do see pictures, um, especially when you talk about going to the beach and going to the island because you love that. Okay. But you keep those behind you because you're afraid to put them in front of you because if you put them in front of you, you're ready to go. Okay. You wanna
I
go.
just text the person that owns the Airbnb about an hour ago and said, "Yeah, remember I gave you a date back in the holiday season. Is the date still available?" He's like, "Yeah, I got you know." I'm okay, just checking. I just did. That is funny.
Right. But
And
you have the pictures behind you because you're saying, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to, I'm going to do this. I'm waiting. But right now, I've got this other part of my life.
yes, and is that reasonable?
It is, but I can show you how the other part of your life can feel the same way you feel when you look out at the beach and you're sitting on your little white plastic chair. You can get that same matter of fact, you even get more than that because
Mm.
you will connect. And when you connect, you feel really good. Yeah, our students, after they master a few of the skills and they do that for a while, they come to me and they say, you know, when I first started, the advanced students used to say to me, "You will feel good when you do this." And I thought, no, I got to try hard to see if I can do this skill. And then one day it got really easy. And you can feel really good when you do this. It's the feeling good that you want to have all the time.
Of course. And by the way, the tugging thing that you referred to, you're spot on.
The
You're spot
talking,
on. You say again?
The talking thing.
Tugging. You said that there's a
Oh yes, yes. You are really that it.
You're right. You're right. And I'm not just saying that because we're on here. And even the description that you just gave, I don't believe it could be any more spot on in the way you described it.
Well, that's nice to know.
Pretty amazing. It's true.
Let me know if you want to know how to get change that.
That's got to change working on that. But it's recent. What's the best way to reach you? How do we find you?
Clearsight, Clearsightaura.com. Clearsightaura.com.
I know this sounds woo for some, but it's legit. Once you start realizing these things and how we're holding on to things, it's time to get rid of them. It's time
Well,
for
if you're in
change.
that place where you have to look at what am I going to do next? What's my next job? What's my, how do I deal with this relationship? How do I change what I'm feeling because I feel stuck? Then you want to come and take our new course called Change. And all you have to do is send me an email that just says change, and I'll send you a note on what the next class is and a little bit of basic. These skills, they're really down to earth. They're
Yeah.
very basic shifting.
Even starting at grounding yourself. If you don't do that, you're not really sure how or what that even means. Start there. It's there. It's like I'm shoveling snow yesterday and loving it. Why? Because I felt grounded. I was outside, enjoying the air, getting a connection to the earth. Sometimes my shovel was hitting the earth. Um, Amazing. Thank you for today. It's great talking with you.
Thanks for having me. It's
Yeah.
been yeah.
Turn and face the strange. We will catch up next time we get together. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.